unraveling the shrouded life of Elara Voss. The town of Grey Harbor lay pressed between unforgiving cliffs and a restless sea, its streets often veiled in mist that clung to rooftops like unshed secrets. It was the kind of place where whispers outlived the people who spoke them, and every creak of wood or shift of wind seemed to carry a story. Among its inhabitants, Elara Voss walked like a sharp note in a melancholy song, head tilted too high, laughter slicing through silence like shards of broken glass. She was both admired and resented. To some, she was a storm that refused to be tamed. To others, she was simply unbearable, too loud, too brazen, too much. But few ever looked beyond her jagged edges. On a storm-lashed night, when thunder clawed at the heavens and the sea roared like a beast uncaged, a single scream fractured the darkness. By dawn, Elara Voss was found dead in her cluttered apartment, her lifeless body surrounded by scattered photographs and cryptic ink-stained notes. The town reeled. In a place where nothing stayed buried for long, Elara's death unearthed more than anyone was prepared to face. The mask she wore. Detectives arrived before the fog lifted, stepping into Elara's apartment, a place that mirrored the chaos within her. The walls were lined with old photographs, newspaper clippings, and fragments of poetry scribbled on scraps of paper. Her handwriting was a storm of loops and slashes, her words a blend of rage and yearning. Strength is a costume. Mine just fit better than most. As investigators pieced through the wreckage, they found no signs of forced entry, no clear cause of death, only the eerie presence of those notes, like breadcrumbs leading into the labyrinth of a fractured soul. 2. The town remembers. Elara's death became the town's heartbeat, each conversation pulsing with suspicion and confession. One by one, the people who had crossed paths with her began to emerge from the shadows of their own narratives. Jonas Miller, the quiet bookshop owner, revealed that he had once been Elara's secret admirer. Her visits to his store were rare but unforgettable. She'd browse the philosophy section, tracing her fingers along the spines of Nietzsche and Camus, as if searching for a reflection of herself. She used to say, Jonas recalled, his voice fragile, that people only respect strength when it comes wrapped in cruelty. She didn't believe anyone could love the soft parts of her. Mara Linton, her childhood friend turned rival, spoke through clenched teeth. Their friendship had frayed in adolescence, unraveling under the weight of envy and unspoken wounds. She always had this defiance. I admired it once. Then I hated her for it. She made me feel small, Mara confessed. And then there was Professor Alden, an aging writer who saw in Elara what the town refused to, brilliance buried under barbed wire. She wielded her pain like armor, he said softly. But even armor rusts when worn too long. 3. The notes. Each note found in Elara's apartment painted a fragment of her internal landscape. People see what they fear in me. Maybe that's why they keep their distance. They called me reckless. I was just tired of whispering. The sea listens. The town only echoes. The detectives began to trace connections between these writings and the town's history. Some notes referenced long-forgotten scandals, a shipwreck cover-up, a betrayal between old families and buried alliances. Elara had been digging, piecing together a narrative that threatened to expose everyone. But her words also revealed something else, a quiet yearning for someone to see her beneath the bravado, to not just hear her voice, but understand its tremors. 4. A town confronted. As the investigation deepened, Grey Harbor was forced to look inward. Their easy labels, difficult, arrogant, ungrateful, crumbled under the weight of her truth. Elara's boldness was never cruelty. It was a desperate language born of neglect and abandonment. She was not the villain they imagined, nor the saint they ignored. She was simply human, complicated, bruised, and yearning to matter. The detectives never found a murderer. The coroner's report pointed to a heart condition worsened by years of untreated illness and stress. Elara's death was not a violent act inflicted by another. It was the quiet collapse of a soul that had long carried more than it should. The final revelation. At her funeral, the town gathered in uncharacteristic silence. The mist hung low, as if listening. Jonas read one of her final notes aloud. "If I disappear, will anyone wonder who I really was? Or just whisper about who they thought I'd been?" The words settled over them like ash. In that moment, they understood. The greatest mystery was not who killed Elara Voss, but who they had allowed her to become in their minds. Her life was a mirror reflecting their fears, their judgments, their failures to see beyond masks. And perhaps in unraveling her story, they began to confront their own. Epilogue. Years later, a plaque was placed outside the old bookshop, engraved with a single line from Elara's notes. "We are all enigmas, wearing costumes stitched from survival. Grey Harbor never spoke of her in whispers again."